Welcome everybody. This is our first Bagua class because this is preliminary training that we're going to do in this class today. We are going to work on some basics. First, we start with a little bit of a theoretical background for this. I'm not going to show you pictures or anything like this to show you this. First of all, there are many different kind of Bagua styles nowadays. And what we are going to do, we're going to learn first 8 basic steps. And then with these 8 basic steps, we immediately also practice different kind of animals. So every animal has also its own Bagua form, you can say. And the differences will be very clear at a certain point, and we will get to this eventually. And then from the basic steps, then we go to the basic moves, and these are also several moves. And then from there, we start slowly building up Bagua form. Like I said before we started, the first period of Bagua is normally pretty much disciplinary, and normally we would have to practice 2 hours a day circle walking. And so if you have 2 hours a day to do circle walking to get it right in your system, it will be really great, because then later on you can go to more complicated circle walkings, and you will have to build contraptions in your back garden or in your balcony or something like this to do so, to make sure that you do it right. And I hope you can do that, of course, because that will be really nice. And this has to do with the fact that Bagua originally is seen as a sort of a crowd fighting. So you are supposed to move through a crowd, and your body has to become very agile and movable. And the wudang fitness, of course, is a great tool for these kind of things, especially when you do the first and the second level for this. And then you start realizing at a certain point that the primary animal that we are going to learn is going to be dragon form. Yes, and there's different steps in which we go apply this. And this dragon form is just because of the way how you coil through your movements. And there's also, like for instance, there's tiger form, which is much more like slapping, and there's a snake form which much more is like sliding, and so on and so on. And so then your moves become very different every time. And even though they might be the same moves, but the expression then every time becomes different, and your movement has to be adapted to it. And so when we do the first move, we try to get into that, because that mobilizes most of your body in a quite good way. We will do it slowly, right? So when we get to that point, we go do the moves in a slow fashion. But at the moment, then when we are to that point, we gradually also will increase the speed. That is different than with taijiquan. Taijiquan the learning process revolves around slow moving, but the learning process of Bagua is starting with slow moving, but gradually has to go faster and faster. I hope you guys never have a concussion by something in the meantime, because Bagua can make you pretty dizzy. If you have a concussion, that would be a counter advice, because you might get pretty much more dizzy than in that case. Then let's start with the first exercise. And the first exercise is just simple walk. I will not talk about different kind of walk, just that you have a good understanding of steps. And we have talked about it briefly in Tai Chi classes sometimes when we mentioned this, but now we are going to talk about it more detailed, in fact. And you see I put this fake Bagua from Temu there, because the Bagua here has few doubles, and I think they took it from Tibetan talismans. You have these kind of Baguas where there are some clear errors. Can you see the errors? Like there's 2 times mountain, there's 2 times thunder, so this is quite stupid. Anybody who knows about Bagua can immediately see like, wow. But in the picture from Temu, you couldn't see it. And when I got it, I was like, what? What did I buy? It's like, stupid. But this is how you see how companies have no idea what they're selling. Okay, so when you look at the Bagua, as the circle, you see that there's 3 circles. One, there is a second circle that is going here around, and there's a third circle which actually is more wide, right? So we are going to practice these circles, and we start first with the most basic one. The most basic one, you have to make sure you have space enough in your room. You basically step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps around. Yes. So imagine on the floor, if you have something that you can temporarily draw on the floor or something like this to make that circle, that helps really very good. This circle is about 1 step from one side to the other side, right? So it's like a two times shoulder wide. And you make sure that you actually really step in 8 steps. So you walk around in 8 steps. And this has to become a routine. So you have to be able to measure the steps on your feelings, right? So at the moment when you walk around, you want to make sure you, in the beginning, you look. And at the moment when you start feeling comfortable, you start walking without looking. And you just keep stepping on the different steps. So you make 8 steps. First now do like 20 circles in one direction, 20 circles the other direction. Yes? Yeah. One is the inside circle. This is the middle circle. There's an outside circle. Leon, your cushion is about the same size as the inside circle, right? Yes. So you have to step about shoulder wide outwards. So this is about shoulder wide outward. Yes? Yes, 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 yes. You see? So there's about the foot distance from your cushion. So that they are actually not very big steps, right? They're not very big steps. If you get dizzy, let me know. For the first few weeks, when you walk like this, just look around to the floor so that you measure your steps, that it becomes instinct. Like when I'm looking at the screen to distract automatically, I would actually have to shift to my Bagua posture. So then I would have to sink to my knees to maintain my balance.
So when you measure the steps, your feet just touch.
No.
So if this is my first step.
From the middle of the circle, you are about shoulder wide away, right? So this is about shoulder wide away. Yes, but from the one side to the other side is 2 times shoulder wide away, right? So at the moment when you sink, like when you're standing in taijiquan in the wide stance, so you stand in 2 steps, right? So half, this is what people normally stand.
Yeah, I mean, but if I take a step, you can see my feet. I put the next foot down to touch someone in behind it.
What?
So this touch right here. Should, if you see this foot,
yeah,
should this next foot touch right?
No, because then your circle is small. You have to step in 8 steps. So be around in 8 steps. See,
Okay, so some space between your steps.
1 step, yes, 1 step, 1 step. So it's a little bit like when you're gently walking, right? A little bit like when you're gently walking.
And that's it. Just walk.
What?
Just walk around in 8 steps.
For now, just walk.
Maybe we should look at our feet.
What?
We should look at our feet.
Well, to make sure that you stay in the... Because if you fall from your over your stones, you're going to break something. See? If you only look at your feet, I think you're going to get too dizzy in the beginning. You have to make sure you also orient on the floor and the space around you.
But they should be normal sized steps.
Yeah, like you're walking in the park. So have you done about 20 steps? Then turn around, go in the opposite direction. Feels good?
This way feels easier. Don't know why.
Because when you walk for a long time in this relatively small circle, at a certain point your body gets a little bit disoriented. And you go in the opposite direction, you seem to correct yourself a bit. But by the end, it's going to be difficult again. But that's also why you have to walk for 2 hours in circles to make sure that you never get dizzy. Because at the moment when you go quickly through a crowd, you get dizzy, you lose coordination, and therefore you will lose your fight. So your eyes have to be very acute in interpreting whatever is happening to you. I've been teaching this kind of things to my daughters already for a long time. Make sure that they really pay attention to their environment.
So we just stay looking ahead as we walk in the direction we're going.
As long as you're on the circle and you take the right same measured distance from your steps. So if you put 8 objects on your floor, better. Distance better.
What about that? If you put 8 objects?
Yeah, if you make a circle with 8 objects, then on the outside of the objects you walk, so it's more easy to step on the right distance, because otherwise you have to guess a bit, because now every time you step in another place, so it doesn't really matter to work properly. Make sure that the steps are equal every time.
Yes, I keep adjusting. I keep finally taking bigger steps than I thought I would. Basically, one on the corner, next one in the middle, one on the corner, one in the middle.
Yeah. But it's easier to measure the steps when you have 8 objects.
Okay, I'll have to next time to put more objects.
Does anybody keep track of how many circles we...
No.
Okay, doesn't really matter. Okay, good. How does it feel? Feels good so far? Huh?
It hurts my hip.
You have joint rotations and so on, which are very different than what you normally get with taijiquan. And you will see that when you practice a lot, you can even get blue bruises around your waist and around your rib cage. And so Bagua can be pretty gruesome sometimes if you practice it. Any questions at this point? No questions so far? Okay, then we go to the next one. We will not make as many circles because that's going to be a little bit more difficult. But if you start with the small circle that is inside the yin yang, right? So it's inside the yin yang. What you do is every time you step around, you step around, you step around, you step around. So you put your feet every time in 180 degrees distance from each other, right? So you walk around, step 180 degrees, step 180 degrees. This is also to condition your joints, right? To condition your joints and to condition your bones to create more flexibility and to prevent decalcification, of course, when you get older. (180 degrees, 180 degrees around each other. So, Leon, so at the moment when you have one foot, see, my foot is standing here, my feet are here parallel to each other, right? So at the moment when I make my next step, I step 180 degrees in opposite directions. You see that? So my foot goes in the opposite direction. So I'm standing here like Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
And then I come back, and then I turn around. And then I come back, and I turn around. See?
Okay, I think I get it. Mm.
Not the easiest. No, more. You're still only doing like 100 degrees, but it should be 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Step in, 180 degrees, turn 180 degrees. Step in, 180 degrees, turn 180 degrees. Step in, 180 degrees, turn 180 degrees. Turn. So you first step, and then you turn your body, right? This also helps you with making corners in taijiquan. Okay.
Other than what it looks.
One more time. So at the moment, when you're standing here together with 2 feet, right? Let me take the mat away because the black makes it more difficult to see. So you're standing here with 2 feet. My 2 feet are parallel. I turn this one 180 degrees, right? So now at this moment, if I turn around, my toes are touching my heel, like plie in ballet, right? And then you turn around. Now they're parallel again. Yes. You see?
Yes.
So is it even a step or just rotation on the heel?
Yeah. The thing is that most people, their ankles are not very flexible. Their knees are not very flexible, right? So this is why 180 degrees is difficult. So just practice like this, standing like this for a moment. Just standing like 180 degrees. Try to get your feet together to touch. Yes, that's right, Leon. No, just stay like that for a while, so that your tendons have time to get used to the posture. Legs straight, legs straight.
I don't see your feet well.
That's true because of it's black on black, right? But if I do from the side, you can see. Can I see it show from the side? Yeah. See? So they're standing in the same direction.
And they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
So the toes
Yeah,
are one right next to the other.
The toes are touching the heels and your legs are straight. Chris, how's it feeling? You feel your hips, right?
Feeling on the outside of my hips.
Yeah. These muscles, these joints, they all have to adapt. Takes about 2 years to adapt your bones. Also your knees, they can create a lot of space in your knees, but you have to make sure that you make your legs long to create that kind of space. Okay, go to the other side, the other foot front. Same. Also 180 degrees. So you have a very narrow basis. Now this is a very narrow basis for standing.
Yeah, almost falling over.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can walk a little bit like this, like Charlie Chaplin walk, right? So in the same direction. You can make this step in the same direction. You will have the tendency to turn your hands outwards, right? How does it feel, Chris? Yeah. I remember how much fun I always had with myself.